All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another game replay shoutcast. I will be your host today, the Capitalist. Hello, and with me today is Insane Rabbi. Rabbi, give us a little something.
Hello, everybody. How you doing today?
And of course, our cameraman, as always, the lovely, the very talented Snoopy. Give him a bunch of love for doing this
Yay!
camera
Woo,
action for
yes!
us. And
Yeah!
this fabulous game is going to be in between T7H and 3MO. So what we're going to be doing here is we're actually going to be recording both the video with audio, of course, as we always do, and then we're also going to be covering just the audio for those of you guys who want to watch the replay and have control of the camera yourself. So right now we are paused in game. The replay time at 1:10. So replay time 1:10, and the in-game time at 5 seconds. Now that's a little ways into the replay, and that's because we had a pause. There's a pause somewhere in the minute mark, and we don't want to mess mess. We don't want to mess with that because it might mess up the whole syncing up action and all that. So we're actually going to go over the picks now. We don't have the bands for you, of course. But we'll go over the picks. Over on T7H's side, we got Amingo on Swiftblade, Kit on Polywog, QOT on Magnus, Nonvidius on Pyromancer, and Sexy on Defiler. And then over on the 3MO side, we have Chow on Slither, FuckBR on Plague Rider, BDiz on Wretched Hag, and DSG on Engineer, and Anilogus, I guess, on Pestilence. So, Rabbi, what do you think about these picks so far? How do you think it's going to go down?
Interesting. I really wish we would have seen the bans. Plague as a babysitter for Pestilence works well, but without a heal against the chain stun combo, you're in a little bit of trouble, in my opinion. Defiler versus Wretched Hag solo mid, that'll be pretty even. Defiler's probably going to take that by a slight edge, and then Poly Swift bottom against two ranged heroes, especially Slither, not looking so good. So the T7H, I mean, the picks all around for T7H, they look like they have decent lanes, good team fight capabilities, great ganking capabilities. But then, of course, their main strength, in my opinion, pushing with Poly and Defiler's ults. Whereas, 3MO looks as though they're kind of the anti-push, with Engineer being able to probably get a portal key and ult, Slither ulting, haggling all their stuff. And then, Pestilence coming in late game with the carry. I don't know, it could go a million different ways. Both sides have team fight potential, ganking potential. Slither, you could argue, is a good pusher with Engineer. I think that we're going to look at Defiler and Poly as the better pushing setup from T7H compared to 3MO. But it really could go either way. It's really gonna come down to who outplays the other team. I think lanes, I'd have to give a slight edge to T7H. But oh man, it's just so close in the picks, in my opinion. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see how this game plays out.
I agree. I think a very large part of this game should be, especially this Wretched Hag. Of course, Wretched Hag being solo mid, being such a great ganker. If she gets an early bottle, and the runes. I think the runes are going to be really important here. If Wretched Hag is able to, of course, she has that blink, she's going to have the advantage to getting the runes. However, if Defiler, ahead of time starts going to a single spot, if he's able to get some runes, that's really going to hurt Wretched Hag. But if Hag gets some really devastating runes in, he could definitely help not only win the lane, but gank really heavily, especially on that top lane. Of course, you mentioned earlier, they're going to have some trouble. Plague Rider, Pestilence, it's an alright lane, but you're going to be up against that double stun heavy nuke combo of Pyromancer Magnus, and that's just going to be real hard to deal with without any sort of heals. So interesting to see how it plays out. Of course, that the Engineer Slither is going to be a devastating against that Swiftblade.
Oh, it's going to be brutal.
What do you think about what do you think about the Polywog?
I think
going laning with Swiftblade.
I actually don't like it. I prefer a 600 range babysitter as opposed to a 550 or 500. Is it? I don't remember. It's 550. And on top of that, yeah, it's great that you have, you know, 2 different stuns, but you got to get Electric Jolt to farm. Really, both characters in that lane need to farm. Polly, of course, for Staff the Master and potentially Refresher, and then Swiftblade just being the carry. So in this case, you may see Kit going both Morph and Tongue-Tied just to do the best to support Swiftblade to try and give him enough time to really get the spin damage off. There really is no way for either, you know, Slither or Engineer to negate the damage of the spin. The best they can do once Swift starts spinning is Slither dropping a ward, and the wards actually slow through the spin. So you get a 10% slow if Slither has a ward down on Swift. They may be able to get away because of that. But, you know, I don't like it. I think you need 600 range, and you need some form of a slow. You know, a slow that lasts 4 seconds is better than a stun that lasts, you know, what is more, 1.5 at level 1, something like that. And then Tongue-Tied, sure, may be a long amount of time, but, you know, if you don't get NG, NG's just going to stun you out of it. And, I don't know, I feel that Swift's going to take a lot of damage from a dual range lane, and just... Ugh, I don't like Poly Swift. It does not work out well in most situations. I think Plague, Glacius, I mean, if you have to run a Witch Slayer that can at least somewhat drain their mana and have well, it's a 700 range stun, but has a 600 range attack, it can really babysit well over a Polywog Priest, especially considering those heroes don't need farm, whereas Poly, you really do want to see an early Staff the Master on, so... I don't like it. I think what happened is they took Polly in a 1-2 or a 2-3, something like that. That's why I said I want to know bans, and I wish I knew the pick order here. But I believe Polly did take a, or they probably took him 1-2 or 2-3, noticing that Swift was still out there, not wanting to play against a Plague Swift. It was probably T7H 1 Polly, and then 3MO Plague and Slither 1-2, and seeing Plague, they had to take Swift as a 2-3. So it's probably Swift Mag, and then they ended up with Defiler Pyro as 4-5, and I don't want to even try and guess 3MO.
Yeah.
But, Hag, you can pick her, you know, she's a 3-4-5, but she's always a great hero. Engineer, same thing. Pestilence, I don't really know how Pestilence really fits that well into this. I think maybe another Roam Ganker into an Engineer carry, or just a 5 hardcore crush your squishy of Polly and Defiler before they can really get beefy and push via Staff the Master and whatever Defiler decides to get. But hey, man, we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, I think the picks on both sides are solid. Polly Swift lane, though, I mean, you and I said it. I think it's going to get crushed bottom.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of Polywog Priest, but I gotta say I love him soloing mid. And really, I don't like him seeing laning very often. But all right, so enough with the talking, guys. You guys are probably excited to see the action going down. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1, go, and we're gonna all hit play together, and we're gonna start this fabulous journey in this game to T7H versus 3MO. So if you guys are already synced up, we're gonna start at 110 in replay time, which is 5-second in-game time. So if you guys are all ready, 3, 2, 1, and go. So yeah, I gotta say that I'm not sure if I agree with the Defiler pick, because you really, if you choose that Defiler, you really want her that solo mid, and that really took away from Polywog doing that solo mid. Like you said, I really would have liked to see a much better babysitter with Swiftblade, and on top of that, you know, the 3MO doing the smart thing, running Slither against that Swiftblade on top of, you know, and then two range. That's just a double devastatingly combo against a Swiftblade. You know, they're probably never going to be able to get in range of getting any sort of disables, a good disable off on the two of them. So I agree with pretty much everything you said there. Yeah.
Something else
but we'll
to
have
note.
to see how it plays out.
Two things. Slither coming in strong with the toxicity at level 1. We'll come back to that, though. The other thing, we see the ward at the jungle spawn for Sentinel side. That is such a sexy ward. For those of you that don't know, you need air sight, like a crow, in order to see that ward. You're not going to be able to place an anti-ward to kill it. I'm pretty sure that's placed in a specific area. In the replay, we can kind of see it barely, but in-game,